Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at Keep It as a notes app for your iPad and Mac OS. Before we dive into that though, I want to let you know there's two ways to support the channel. Number one, go to patreon.com/CurtisMcHale and support the channel. Become a patron. Number two, you can go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare, and there you can take my course on TickTick, which is the task manager I use to run my web development business, my YouTube channel, everything. Buckle up. What is Keep It? Keep It is a note-taking software digital manager of stuff, kind of like DevonThink, kind of like Evernote, kind of like Yojimbo was for Mac. It's available on Mac and iPad and iPhone. What makes Keep It extra amazing is that it's pretty much got feature parity back and forth. I say pretty much because there's a few things that are like system specific, right? You don't have shortcuts on Mac because there is no shortcuts. You don't have like watched folders if you're only using iOS because it's just a different type of operating system. So on Mac OS, it works just fine. So let's dive in and see what Keep It has. One of the very cool things about Keep It is that it actually indexes PDFs on device. So this will do it on your iPhone, on your iPad, or on your Mac. And it syncs the indexing across everything. So you just have it, which is cool. So I could even bring this up right here and I can search for global leader. You see it came up right there. We can search with Command Option F. And I could search for content delivery. And then I can even choose different operators, right? The name contains it, comments contain it, source contains it, so where it came from, like the URL or wherever else, or contents contains it. We can do that, and we have it right here. Right, content delivery. So I have noticed in iPadOS 14 beta 4, I think I'm on, public beta 4, the UI doesn't show up. As you saw, it took a second for the PDF to show up properly until I kind of clicked around. I'm going to say it's a beta bug because when I've had this before, that was not an issue. And we can even save searches right here. We can combine multiple parameters in here as well if we wanted. We can search for like the source and for what's in the content and for lots of different things in a row if I wanted to. And again, your saved searches will show up between devices. Another nice thing you can do with PDFs here is you can see right up here, I'm just pulling my pencil off now too, is that we can mark up PDFs. So I can do that. I could highlight, I can do whatever. Now it shows up in my PDF. And that's just using the markup tools native to Mac or to iPad OS. Remember, the indexing is going to sync back and forth between multiple devices. So as long as it's indexed in one spot or like OCR'd in one spot, it's OCR'd everywhere. As far as types of notes, you can choose what type of note you want, right? This is a markdown note, which is what I prefer. But you can also do rich text if you want as well. And there's even some settings to change that. You can hit settings. All right, we can set it up to download all items, to export to iCloud, or remove downloads if we want. We can set up our import destination, so we can set up an inbox in here if we wanted. How we do indexing, how we do text recognition, what language, right? There's a bunch of languages it does text recognition in if you need that. We can manage our subscription, which is pretty cheap for iOS, and then Mac OS is a separate purchase, but iPad and iPhone are single subscription. And if we go to settings, I don't want the new public beta. So I'm on public beta 5, clearly. Let's go find Keep It. We'll come back to public beta upgrades later. You can see that it's got a bunch of different settings. I don't love that they're buried in the settings app, but that's how iPad is sometimes. So we can set how we automatically rename notes, stationery. I am trying to figure out the stationery feature, I admit. How we save our web links for offline. So whether we do it with PDF or web archive are our two options. How we share in a link instead of a file when we do our sharing. How we download, how we import mail messages, our different date formats, and how we treat it on startup. Now, as far as changing what our default for a new note is, we can do that by hitting the plus, hitting new from stationary. We can manage stationary, and then we can choose right here what we want it as to start. So I selected Markdown. I think it started as note, but I don't remember for sure. Either way, you can change how we do our Markdown, how we do plain text, rich text, anything. Trackpad support. You can see I'm using it, and it works pretty well, right? I have swipe left, swipe right for more actions, put it in a folder or trash, remove, copy item identifier. So copy link would let me do something like, all right, I can go copy link. I don't wanted that. I wanted this note. And then I can actually paste the link in. It does not do bidirectional linking, but as you can see, it did let me, like, when I have this selected, I can go when it took me back to the other note. So no bidirectional linking like you see in Rome or like you see in Obsidian, but it does let you link between notes if you want to. As far as keyboard commands go, we've got quite a few, right? We have different types, so I can click into here into like editing a note, hold command, and you can see I've got a bunch of them. I can do titles, just do a bunch of text formatting stuff, as well as some here navigating around the UI. And if I've selected a note, there are more or different ones, right? New markdown note, how we show lists, favorites, and just again, navigating the interface. We can also go between start editing by command return or command enter, depending on what keyboard you have. And you can see end editing right here by doing the same one. So we can do a lot of interface navigation just from this, right? There was a show lists command, which was, where was that? Show favorites list, show all items, show recent items. So shift command A. Let's do that. Shift command A. We're in all items. What was recent items? Shift command R. Recents. See, that's fairly quick. Show lists is command L. And now we don't have keyboard navigation here. And as you saw, like I could navigate between all items, recent items, favorites if I wanted to. Now folders. Folders are kind of what you think with folders. They're just a place to put things. I don't have any folders right now, but we could add new ones, right? Or we could go select all. We can also go to our settings here, change how we arrange them, change if we view them like in a list view or in a grid view. We can change the preview settings. Just lots of options here. Do we add new folder like that? New file, bubbling video, new from stationary. It's the views again. New markdown note. Markdown even does preview actually, right? Preview heading 2. You can click the preview button and it'll give me a preview. Add new folder there. You can put it under another folder, so sub folder, right? Put it under our folder if we wanted, subfolder. You can even collapse. Now bundles are a bit different. So a bundle, let's say new bundle. Bundle 1. Does it need a parent? Let's give it a folder as a parent. There you go, so I have a bundle 1. So bundles will also show up here. And bundles are different because a folder, like a file exists inside a single folder, but a file can exist inside multiple bundles. That's the big difference there. So this could let you have 2 different research projects and where you save like some of the same resources into each project because they need the same resources, which I can find very useful. I'm accomplishing that in Obsidian right now by just tagging things multiple times. Additionally, we can use tags if we wanted. I can come in here, I have tag 2 already in there, and then I could search by that tag or file by that tag if I wanted. And then we have labels as well. These are color labels. You can see, put them in there, give them whatever name we want if we want that as well. And then to label something, let's go in and label this as a, where do we put that file information. It's in note bundles. Well, how do we label a file? Is there here? Title, heading. I don't see how to label a file. Add sketch. So this is a brand new feature. I did my research yesterday and they added this new feature. So let's just add a sketch to see what it does. Oh, it just brings up this. And go sketch. Done. And I added a sketch directly to that quote. Cool. That's a brand new feature. When I started up my iPad today, it said, hey, we have this sketch feature. So you just saw it as I saw it. You can also add to folder from here. Right, add to bundle, folder, change label. There, that's how we change label. So change label. I have no labels. I can make a new one. Let's make it green, and these are quotes. So now it's green. You can see it's actually changed kind of the highlight text in the preview. Say I have quotes. Perfect. On the automation front, there's a few different ways it tackles this. So you can see it's got a wealth of keyboard shortcuts of just shortcuts, right? There was a bunch that got added today. I'm not sure which ones are which, but there's a bunch of brand new ones as of August 26th. Yeah, there's lots here. I don't know what else to say. And then if we go to URL support, it actually has a bunch of callback URLs as well and has a lot of parameters in here, which would be good, right? You can see in the add parameter, you can basically do anything you want, which is nice. Now, clearly there is no shortcuts on macOS, but you have automator stuff, right? Folder actions for keep it. So you can use automator folder actions to duplicate some of the automation you'd see in DevonThink. Additionally, this is just going to watch a folder. So if you say, hey, I know I want this in my 2020 receipts folder, you can just drop a PDF there and it'll be there. So you could do that with any type of shortcuts action, just any type of a Hazel rule on your Mac, anything like that. And it also has mail scripts if you want them. It shows you how to set up mail scripts anyways, so you can have stuff go from your inbox on macOS to your Keep It folder, binder thing. That's really it. I mean, Keep It is a nice app. I reviewed it for the Suite Setup apps. They've also got Feeder if you want that. So how do you buy Mac or Keep It? It doesn't actually say how much it is. License full. You can get like half license, upgrade license. Okay. That makes sense. Continue. It's $49.99 US. And then on the App Store, I've already just done the subscription for it for this video. Is it going to show me? It will actually, because if I go down here, in-app purchase, so it's $1.99 a month or $12.49. This is Canadian for the year if you want Keep It. Now, as far as should you get Keep It, I think that, and number one, it's far better than DevonThink on the iPad. There's just no question it's way better than DevonThink on the iPad. So if you're really like, again, like me, focused on the iPad, I think it's a pretty strong contender for a note-taking research app. So the way I use DevonThink is I use it for like long-term storage of stuff. It's my read it later service. I just put everything in there. And Keep It is a strong contender. As I watch DevonThink languish on iPad and on iOS and just be a not great app, that I really look at Keep It and say, boy, I kind of wish it was, keeping up like Keep It is. Now, I do know from some people I've heard through the grapevine that DevonThink is working on upgrading their app, so it's coming. They're just slow. And Keep It is moving really fast, seeing as I've got like an update today, and there's a bunch of new features. So should you get Keep It? I think if you're getting into it and you don't have a whole bunch of notes, then yeah, it's a good app. It's definitely a contender if you're on the iPad mostly, especially if you're on the iPad mostly. It's a contender no matter what. If you are like already heavily invested in something, man, the cost of switching is high. You've got to like really dig through and decide if, like, well, it's like a divorce, I suppose. Like getting divorced has a huge emotional cost, and so you got to have some real problems if you're going to go through with it. And then finding something new and better may or may not ever happen. That's it. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. If you loved it, you can subscribe. Then you hit the bell, and YouTube lets you know what's happening. And if you really loved it, you can support the channel by going, again, two ways. You can go to patreon.com/CurtisMcHale and support the channel. Or you can go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare, and there you can take my course on TickTick, which is the task manager I use. Have an excellent day.